generation of lot of information, right? So there is a chance of storing information, lot of information. There are different things that can be done with the help of augmenting with the cloud technology. Cloud applications can take a lead in different several aspects with respect to energy management, information management, and the security management. Okay, so that is yeah. Okay, this is reference about how smart grid and the cloud technologies can integrate it together to harness the benefits of each of these and making the power system much more attractive. So from the figure here, you can see we have the substation and the microgrid and the customer, and next we have the traditional uh, power lines, and then we also have the communication link. Okay, so the communication link as well we have. So and the communication link basically feeding this data to the cloud. This is feeding the data to the cloud. This data and next it is actually feeding the data to the cloud data storage. On the other hand side, we have another type of cloud, which is energy storage. Here we have energy storage, which basically stores the electricity over here. And on the other hand, this information can be stored in the cloud storage and the data storage together, made different types of cloud conceptually possible with the help of these cloud integrated smart grids. Okay, so this smart grid cloud applications can take a lead in several aspects like energy management and information management security. So these two things, this when these two technologies combine, they can manage the things like energy management, and they can perform information management and the security, these kind of things. And energy management and cloud application, the energy management in smart grid can be more efficient by using the cloud applications, cloud based demand response for fast response times in large scale deployment. The two cloud based demand response models proposed for this thing, data centric communication and the topic based group communication, with the integration of cloud request from the customers schedule, which are to be executed depending on the available resource priority and other applicable constraints. So what actually this data centric means, the data centric communication mainly concentrates on the data, on the information. It actually concentrates on the topic based group communication we have. So next, this incoming jobs from users are scheduled according to their priority and available resources. Energy management and cloud applications. So just continuing, integrated cloud computing. So as we said, that integrated cloud computing applications for microgrid management in the form of different modules such as infrastructure, power management, and service. The number of supported customers increases with the cloud application, and integrate and analyze information streaming from multiple smart meters simultaneously can be done. So that is completely focuses on the data, and this is gonna focus on the data from the multiple things in order to balance the real-time demand and supply curves. Real-time energy usage and pricing information can be shared. Here, the mobile agent can be used to monitor power system using cloud computing platform due to the smart grid's heterogeneous architecture. And this is the information management and the cloud application. So in much more secure than the traditional smart grid here. Okay, so as like here we have and different components and everything right here. So we have the different layers at the cloud. This is going to provide the more security to the data which actually stored at the cloud. So an electric power information. So it is making the smart grid more secure than the traditional grid. An electric power information security and the protection system can be developed using based on the cloud security. Private cloud platforms are suitable for scaling out and processing millions of data from users. Using the cloud computing platform, the electrical utilities can quickly and effectively deal with the malicious software. So security and protection system for electrical power. Servers act as a cloud and take decision according to the client's data. So privacy issue in smart grid, quickly and effectively deal with the malicious software with the implementation of cloud computing applications. And next, data storage security for distributed verification in smart grid using the cloud application. Real-time data can be analyzed and estimated using cloud in smart grid. Cloud-based information privacy scheme can be used for smart grid data privacy. So these all things are related to the security. These all things when the data stored in the cloud, these all things going to happen. So these all things are very important. So this is about the smart grid. So with this, we are done with that. I just want to move on to this syllabus so that you guys can see what are the things we have. Guys, if you see, this is the first module, FIOT. Please listen. Okay. So this is the first module, FIOT. So in this, what we have introduction to the Internet of Things. So the introduction, so the basic definition. So these all things you have to mention there. Next, characteristics of IoT. So we have already wrote in exam the different 5 characteristics: the dynamic and self-healing, self-configuring, connected to intermediate something like interoperability, connected to the inter networks. So those things we have already discussed. So next, here in the physical design of IoT. So this physical design of IoT, it consists of 2 things like IoT devices and IoT protocols. Those 2 things you have to give. Please, just any diagram you feel very important that you have to draw here. Physical design of IoT, as I'm telling, these 2 things, IoT devices and the IoT protocols, those 2 have diagrams. That the diagrams are important. Okay. So next thing, functional blocks of IoT. This functional blocks of IoT is also have diagram. So the diagram and the information, if you draw, information if you give, it is good. Next, sensing. The sensing and actuation. So the sensing and actuation terms, you cannot just give it just like that. Sensing in this is the physical, the sensor is going to sense the physical phenomena if you place some sensor at some place. So how you can describe this sensing and actuation? Through the sensors. Okay, so how this actually sensing happens. So so that reason we have the sensors concept and the actuators concept. Okay, through that only the sensing and actuation task is going to happen, right? This task who is performing sensors. So we have completely need to know about the sensors and actuators. So for actuation purpose and the sensing. So these 2 are the main components of Internet of Things. So sensing and actuation. What are the types of sensors are there? What are the types of actuators are there? So those things you have to write. Okay. So next, basics of networking. Basics of, but don't forget one word. These are the main this sensing and actuation things only, differentiating the normal internet or normal things from the Internet of Things we are calling. Okay. So basics of things here, what is this Internet of Things? Somebody will ask you, what is Internet of Things? Things means here the devices. Okay. Physical devices, any device, so which is connected to the internet, but with any device. Internet of Things in the sense here, Internet of Things here. So any device which is connected to the internet, it's not the it's not the device which we cannot call it's a Internet of Things devices. Okay, but these devices will have the different capabilities like sensing, identification, and actuations. These are the different capabilities the Internet of Things devices will have. So that is the reason it is separately calling Internet of Things, not normal things. Okay, it's not different. Okay, it's like different from other things. Okay, not like the things which have internet. Basics of networking. In this basics of networking, completely it is about the different networks, some things like protocols, COAP protocol, all the protocols, so that all the protocols we spoke in that, so all the protocols topics comes here in the communication protocols. Here some protocols like Zigbee, so wave, Z wave, and some different protocols we discussed, right? So all the protocols here it comes. Next, the sensor networks. In the sensor networks, what happens in the sensor networks? Here you have to write what is actually the sensor networks. I told you the sensor networks, it is the in this the sensors are going to be placed at the different geographical locations, and for that sensors are at the different geographical locations. So those sensors are first gonna connect to the sink. Okay, the sink is going to take all the information from the sensors, and the things are going to be connected to the gateway. Okay, through the gateway, it is going to connect to the network. Okay, so the sink is going to take the information from all the sensors, and it is going to send the data to the backend services, which means cloud. Okay, so that is how. And next, in this sensor networks, we have two types of sensor networks. One is the stationary sensor networks, and other one is a mobile sensor networks. Okay, so those two differences also you remember, and some of the applications of sensor networks where actually this is using agriculture, healthcare, so different things you have to mention. Okay, so this is completely about the first module. What are the things you have to write, what are the things are there. Okay, next, coming to the second module, machine to machine communication. When you get a question, point to point communication also same as the machine to machine communication. Okay, so internet of things is different, machine to machine communication is different, so we have to differentiate those two things. Okay, next thing, difference between IoT and the M2M, as I told you. Okay, so because even without, there is no need of internet for the M2M, but IoT, it needs the internet, it completely operates on the internet. Okay, next, interoperability in IoT. As I told you, interoperability, why it comes, because the devices with it cannot be, see, we suppose you are using Samsung mobile phone. So is it really possible whole world users can use only one brand, with only Samsung can provide mobile phone for everybody? No, right? So, and that is not a rule, like only Samsung has to give the particular mobile phone, that only has to develop it. So many different vendors will be there, different manufacturers will be there. So in such cases, and they will use different semantics, like different data semantics they will use. So to understand those things, you human, we can understand, but the devices make them understand the language of the things which actually used different things. Apple phone is developed with a different operating system, and Android phones we are seeing that is a different operating system we are seeing. So those two communicate when you are making calls and everything, it is going to communicate and all, how actually these are happening, because that is running on the different operating system, but how these things are happening. So that is why we got this interoperability, because of the heterogeneous devices, and so that the interoperability has to be possible. So how, for that only we have the different standards and the protocols. Okay, so introduction to Arduino programming. In this we discussed about the example of Arduino Uno. We discussed that, actually you wrote in the exam as well. So Arduino programming in this traffic control system, that is important. Okay, and so coming to the Raspberry Pi, there is a blinking LED, that project, that code you have to remember. There is not a big thing, like the code you cannot write out, it's not a tough thing. Okay, so coming to this Arduino programming, it has a variations of C and C++. Okay, so but for the coming to this Raspberry Pi, we used only the Python programming. Okay, so because the development of IoT applications is easy, so that is what we discussed about the Python programming here. Okay, so next thing, here when you're writing about the Arduino programming, please mention all the features, the device, the board actually it has, right? What are the features it has? Clearly explain that. If you know also, it is good for you as well. Okay, so it's not like after exam it is not useful. So when you see that board somewhere, some places you may see in future as well, right? So it is useful for you. So please learn about it. Like whenever you are studying, study carefully, as like it should be in your mind always. Okay, so next, integration of sensors and actuators with Arduino. integration of sensors and actuators. So here always for everything I just gave you example with the DHT sensor, okay, humidity and the temperature sensor, okay. So that sensor only I spoke. So integration of sensors and actuators. For actuators here I spoke about the servometer, okay. So servometer, so how to connect these things, there are small codes, if you see the differences you can understand, that is not a big thing, okay. So integration of sensors and actuators, when this question comes, so there is a two types of questions may come here. Integration in the implementation of IoT with the Raspberry Pi. If you see at the fourth module, we have implementation of IoT with the Raspberry Pi. Okay, so here auto cooling system. Okay, auto cooling system example. I told you how to develop the auto cooling system. Okay, so that is just implementation of IoT. How we can. Then I told you how to integrate the sensor, this DHT sensor, and this in this implementation of, because you see this. Implementation of IoT with the Raspberry Pi, it is coming at the two places, third module and the fourth module. Okay, so when the question comes, it depends on the marks you write the answer. Okay, so this actually in this implementation of IoT with the Raspberry Pi, it has three things. Okay, this answer first, implementation of auto cooling system concept is it has, and next after that, I discussed about like how to read the sensor data by using this Raspberry Pi. Okay, so that is the thing, and how to store the data. How after reading the data from the DHT sensor, how to store the data in the cloud. So that, and next remote logging. Okay. Next, I discussed about the remote logging. Okay, so that is the thing. Like remote logging. Why I discussed, because this is the one of the best thing about the IoT. You can log in from anywhere, right? This is completely virtual. The sensors and everything come into the sensor cloud. I told you, right? We can operate this. Some sensors gonna be placed by somebody else, but we are going to use the services. So that is virtual. In this, whatever you see, everything is virtual. You can operate from anywhere, anything you can access. Okay, so that is why. So these are the three things are there in the implementation of IoT with Raspberry Pi. Okay, next thing. So I was at this place, right? Integration of sensors and actuators with the Arduino. So this is about integration of sensors and actuators with Arduino. So this is very easy. I think this our syllabus is very easy and more interesting, I believe. So this is the thing. And next, coming to the third module, introduction to Python programming. This is just nothing is there. What is actually Python programming? So some of the, what are the data types actually? It supports numbers, tuples, and dictionary, something different things I discussed, right? List. And so that's it. Not much more about this Python programming. So you can see that notes I shared with you, but just this is the only introduction. It's not like programming, we are not talking here, just introduction to make you understand why actually this Python programming is needed for the Raspberry Pi and IoT application development. Okay, so this Raspberry Pi, here coming to the Raspberry Pi, introduction to Raspberry Pi. So here what actually this we needed, this is an advancement to the Arduino. Okay, Arduino board, whatever it is there, so that this is the advancement to the Arduino. Actually this Raspberry Pi, and this is a this is like just like a computer, and it's a palm size, I can say. It's a palm computer we can call. So this in this introduction to Raspberry Pi, when you get like you write about the blinking LED project, that is a small code you can write, no problem. So next thing, about here also you have to completely give the information. GPIO pins we have in this Raspberry Pi board. Okay, here we have only digital input output pins in the Arduino programming. Okay, so differences are there. Here 40 pins are there in the Raspberry Pi GPIO pins, but here only 14 digital input output pins are there. Okay, so likewise some differences are there. You have to remember the things. Next, interfacing Raspberry Pi with basic peripherals. Okay, there are three interfaces: serial interface, serial peripheral interface, and next I2C. So there are the three things we can connect to the basic peripherals to the Raspberry Pi board. Okay, and next when you connected this, okay, so you will have the options like when you go to the configurations of Raspberry Pi, there you can see, okay, the interfaces you can see. In that interfaces, we will have the devices whatever it connected to that. Okay, so that is how, and you can give sometimes what you can do in that settings you have to go, and there you have to select some options if you are placing any camera, some things related that, so there you have to enable the options, you have to enable that, like Bluetooth option, as like Bluetooth option you have in your laptops, right? So you have to go and click on it, so then you can connect the Bluetooth, same like some camera or anything, particular devices only. So those services, if you want to use, you can go and enable that service. If you don't want, after the use, you can disable it. So that is all. Next, implementation of IOT with the Raspberry Pi, as I told you. So there is this is a first introduction, like, so then after the continuation, it comes in this fourth module. So complete implementation of IOT, I put in complete PPT, one PPT I just made it. So all the information regarding implementation of IOT with the Raspberry Pi, it will be there. So it may be in the third module, I think. So in the fourth module, it will be there. Okay. So next, this introduction to software defined network and SDN for IoT. So this topic also I put in one PPT. This complete thing will be the introduction to software defined network and the SDN for IoT. So I just kept different headings inside. You can understand if you go through the PPTs. Okay, the software defined network because it is more advancement. This is actually what is the existing system, wireless sensor networks, the traditional one we have, right? So to that we are just making some different approaches, and we are just giving it to like work better than a normal one. So that is what just we are doing. This is just advancement, and we are providing some approaches to work better than wireless sensor networks. So those things are discussed in this software defined network. And next thing, we have data handling and analytics. In this data handling and analytics, so data handling is very important, because here we are using sensors and actuators and different things we are using. So sensor readings, or we are getting the data, right? So to handle such data, it is a big data. Then we can call, always we are getting huge amounts of data. That huge amounts of data can be called as a big data. Big data, it has a different characteristics. Okay, 7V's we have: volume, velocity, variety, and variability. So different things we have, right? So 7V's we have. Okay, so that 7V's we have, you have to discuss. And to handle this data, again we discussed about the Hadoop. Okay, Hadoop, it is actually a framework. This is an advancement to the existing Google file system and the Google's MapReduce. Okay, so those two concepts, it actually taken from the Google's. Okay, so Google file system, here Hadoop, it is developed Hadoop distributed file system, and next to Hadoop it has a MapReduce concept as well, like job and tracker. Okay, job tracker it has, so it is gonna track all the jobs, and so next it has it has a name node, data node. Name node, it will have all the information about the data nodes. This data nodes, like it's a files. Okay, the data is going to be stored in the form of files. Okay, and whatever the data which stores in the Hadoop distributed file system, the data is going to be replicated in different places, because if any data node fails, okay, so the data should be available, right? So the data is going to be replicated in different things. If you take your Gmail as well, your Gmail data, just anytime you see that there is a chance of anything failures, right? Even you see you are having your PC, you may face so many problems, but the data which you are using, the Gmail data and everything, it's going to be stored in the Google server. So there is a chance of these devices and everything, this hardware problems they may have, but the data will be replicated in different things. Okay, one data is not available, so from other file system the data will be available for us. So that is the reason we never see any data issues regarding Gmail or Facebook. Okay, so that is how the data is secure. And next thing, analytics, right? So the data, everything is ready, and we've used Hadoop, these frameworks and everything. So we process the data. So after the data is processed, we need to do, so you have to draw some conclusions with the available data. So to draw some conclusions on that data, we have some two types of things, like qualitative analysis, and we can do quantitative analysis. Qualitative analysis, I'm saying, right? So this means uh, this means the data you are going to measure, after measuring the data you are going to give it in a number. So okay, this is the quality of the data. Okay, quality you can measure in the numerical values, you can say. The qualitative data you can describe that in the text. Okay, so and we have the different approaches, statistical approaches we had, and some different recursion algorithms, so some different things we did regression, so different things we discussed, ANOVA, so different approaches were there. So those things if you mention just little bit to, that is enough. So because you just based on the marks you have to write. And next thing, coming to the cloud computing, here I told you it has a different cloud platforms, like cloud deployment models. It has the deployment models, a public cloud, private cloud, and hybrid cloud, and the community cloud. So different clouds we have. And next we have the different services. This cloud provides infrastructure as a service, and platform as a service, and next software as a service. So those all concepts comes under this cloud. So cloud actually we have, but why again the sensor cloud? Sensor cloud, the name itself you can understand. The sensors, so you want to get some data from some geographical location. So what you have to do, you have to go there and you have to install the sensors and everything. So when the equipment is ready, then you can get data from there. So suppose you cannot install all the sensors at different places, right? So that thing can happen here. The sensors and everything gonna be placed by different owner. Okay, the person will be different who place the sensors at the different geographical locations. He is the owner of sensors. And next we will have the service provider. So sensor cloud service provider we will have. So he's gonna provide the service. So we are the end users. So we're gonna get the services. So we are going to pay the service provider. Okay, so service provider will provide the service to us, and the sensors and everything, the profit and everything is gonna get by the owner and the service, and we gonna get the service satisfactory. So these all things comes in this sensor cloud. So here we are getting the sensors as a service. Okay, so coming to this cloud computing, what actually platform as a service, and platform as a service for run and deploy and create applications. And next we have this software as a service, means which readily available softwares we are using, right? And next thing, through web interface and the Play Store, we are installing applications, right? Those all are readily available, which are actually existing in the cloud, and we are just installing and using. And next thing, infrastructure as a service. If you want to store some data, and if you want to use different operating system, the system itself you can use. The virtual machines will be available, network on different operating systems you can use. And next thing here we are getting again sensor as a service. Okay, and next smart cities and smart homes. So this smart cities, like the different components, the smart cities and smart homes it has, and there is a particular network, home area network. So it have it's gonna connect all the devices at the homes. And next the smart cities, like we in the smart cities we have some things we have to concern about smart parking, and some different components, transportation, schools, all the things has to be connected, so that we can make the smart cities better and effectively work. And next connected vehicles. So here vehicle ad hoc networks we had before, and vehicle sensor networks we have. Then after we have the concept connected vehicles, next we're going to see that intelligent connected vehicles. Okay, so for this we have the so here we have the two protocols which actually developed for these things, DSRC and the wave protocols. Okay, wireless ad hoc networks protocols. So different protocols are supporting this connected vehicles, and so to run at the low power consumption. So that is the reason we need different protocols. And next smart grid, just now we discussed about this smart grid. Okay, so we are just making the traditional grid work smarter, so by using our smart grid concept. Here the traditional grid just it supplies the power, but here as well as with the power we have the information regarding the complete power grid. Okay, So that is how it is making this grid smarter. Any failures or anything, the real time monitoring is possible because we are placing the sensors and actuators. So next thing, industrial IoT. I would just that in the existing systems we are adding wrapping with the sensors and actuators. So next thing, agriculture different sensors what we are using and what are the benefits. These things we discussed. Healthcare and real time monitoring is there. So the body of a patient will be connected with the different sensors. So they provide the real time patient data. Like if anybody is going in ambulance or something. So if the body is connected with the sensors, so the hospital doctor will know the about the patient's situation. So the immediate treatment will be available, like what are the things are happening with him. So all the test is not required that much, right? So it reduces the risk of incidents, different difficult incidents. Next, activity monitoring, daily activity in our life, tracking and everything. You will go for walking and you will sleep. So those all things gonna track. So it can make you a better way. Like we will get the information about you itself. So this is activity monitoring. Like yeah, for that I told you the example fit bands, wearable sensors. I can say some different things are there. So this is all about IOT, guys. So this is maybe the last class, I think. Okay, so if you have any doubts, please you can ask me, or later if you want to know anything also, you can contact me regarding the subject. If you have any doubts like exam time or anything, I'm ready to help you. I just no have any problems. Like I'm ready to explain you anytime. So that's not a issue. So I wish you will write the exam very well. And I even the class is over today, but I'm ready to help you. Even your exams is over, I don't have any issues with that. Please, if you have any doubts, you can, or if anything, you can say. I already sent you the even notes as well. And if you are using your own notes or anything, but the things, the points I mentioned, please don't forget the points. Remember the points and write the answers. Any doubts, you can contact me. That's not an issue. If you don't understand anything, you can ask me. I'll try to clarify the things. So, okay, guys. This is the last week, right, for you guys for the classes?
I hope so, ma'am.
Okay, so this next week you have exams.
Um, Jntuh has declared its exam, but we have no confirmation yet from the college.
Okay, but that we some I think some circular we have seen right before, like still 17th is the last classes, and from 19th your mid exams gonna start. Something was like that, right?
Yes, ma'am. That
Mm,
was previously, but
previously, right? So you're also gonna write the exams offline.
yes, ma'am.
Okay, you do have offline exams. Okay,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
this, yeah. So up to my knowledge, I feel this is the week lost for all the people to finish the subject and all. No more classes for us, I think. But we see what happens in next term. We will know. So for you guys, today is my last class. So thank you so much for you guys. Whenever I take extra classes and everything, you are so helpful and you joined all the classes. I'm so happy. I'm so glad that I taught you guys. Thank you so much.
No, ma'am. Thank you for sharing your knowledge, ma'am,
Thank you. Thank you so
and
much.
bearing us.
No. You are very good. I don't had any problems with that. Yeah. Thank you, Mahi. So, guys, I'll take the attendance first. I think you have to attend the next class as well, right? Thank you, Pratyusha. So, only 15 members I'm seeing. I know only one girl, she texted me, Ankita. She is attending some exam. And rest of the people, I think maybe they have any exams or supplies or something.
Ma'am,
Yes, yes,
you're
Sandeep.
the best. You're the best, ma'am, in this same, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Sandeep. Thank you. So, yeah, yeah, guys. I hope if I get again a chance to teach you guys, I'm happy to teach you again. We see what happens with the things. Okay. So, but
Yes,
I
ma'am. Try taking up any subject next time.
Yeah, sure. And I wish you all the best and study all the subjects well. And even I come to your class, I don't come, but I will see your performance, how you people are doing well. So please, guys, I wish you people, because I taught you, I feel like you people are like related, like because you're my students, I believe. So I want some to see the progress. Please, guys, any doubts regarding any subject or anything, so if you want me to help in your performance, I will help you, but do the best and give your best, study everything, some programmings and different according to your profession. Please, you have to continuously learn. This is the not only this age, every age, even me or anybody more than me, all people are studying, so you also have to study. It's not like studying means books opening and not like that. Improve the knowledge. So you have to improve the knowledge in this time. You have to survive, means you have to get the job, because you need some knowledge. You have to know new things and practice. Just listening, reading is not enough. You have to practice. Practice only the best thing. So I
Ma'am, is the class done? Like attendance.